If you're wondering what's going on in Detroit that's got everybody kind of talking about it, but in a positive light, then this video's for you. I'll be breaking down 5 developments that are happening right here in Detroit that are going to be taking our city from where it's at into the future. And I'll be saving the largest development for the end. What's going on? If you're new to the channel, my name is Ed Butler and I make videos about living, working, eating, sleeping, and playing in Detroit. And if that's some things that you want to start finding more about, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below. Tap the notification bell so you don't miss any of the videos I put out. I'm also a full-time realtor, so if you need help moving to Michigan or within the state of Michigan, feel free to reach out. I love to have your back in your home buying or investing journey. And with that, let's hop into the video. Starting off the list, I wanted to jump into something that I've been most excited about over the last few years, and that's the development of the Michigan Central train station. The Michigan Central train station opened in 1913 and then closed its doors in 1988, and that was when the last Amtrak ran across the tracks until Ford bought it in 2018. Ford's plan is to infuse $950 million into the Central Station and surrounding adjacent properties. The plan is to create 30 acres worth of innovation labs, office space, restaurants, testing infrastructure, retail event space, exhibition space, public art, and overall collaboration space for the city of Detroit. It's also slated for completion as early as spring of 2023. And this is located down in Greektown, which is one of the most historic areas of Detroit. It's actually supposed to be the first neighborhood that was created in Detroit. It is also not far from Southwest Detroit, which is nicknamed Mexican Town. So it's got Greektown and it leads right off into Mexican Town. So Michigan Central train station is going to help revitalize everything over there. Project development number 2 is going to be the Detroit Exchange Building, or Exchange Detroit as it's called. This is actually going to be the first residential product in Greektown in 60 years. Once the $65 million project is complete, it'll have 12 penthouse condos and 156 rental units and be a 16-story building. One of the largest penthouse units is actually going to be a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,800 square foot property that's going to be listed for $1.5 million. You can actually buy it right now. What makes this development unique is that it's actually going to be the first of its kind in the country where they're building this 16-story structure from the top down. So what that looks like is they went through and built 2 spines that looks like massive pillars that go from the ground all the way up to the top. And then they build on the ground each floor, making it more efficient and safer for everybody involved. So they build everything on the ground floor below, and then they take 10 hours to lift it all the way to the top, snap it in place like Legos. It's a really, really cool project and the first of its kind in the country. It's slated to save or make the process of building this 30% more efficient. Not to mention safer, because you don't have trades workers up hundreds of feet in the air working on things. They can do everything on the ground and then just pull everything on up. This is also slated for completion in spring of 2023. So a lot of fun things coming up in the new year. At this point, if you're finding anything cool about the stuff that I'm giving, and I got 3 more for you, go ahead and drop a like button down below. It goes a long way and appreciate it. So moving on to our next one, it's gonna be number 3, and that's the Ralph Wilson Park. Last piece of the Detroit Riverfront's master plan, which is a 5.5 mile stretch along the Detroit River that's become very notable in recent years with all the different revitalization projects that have taken place there. It also was named #1 river walk in the entire country by USA Today. Fun fact. And this development is just gonna make it even better. So the Ralph Wilson Park is gonna be a $75 million project that's gonna add 22 acres to the current Riverwalk, and it's gonna have playscapes and recreational spaces. Some of those are gonna be a 4-acre playground with a 20-foot bear slide, a water garden with direct access to the Detroit River, basketball courts, open spaces, lawn seating, on the whole 9. It's gonna be an awesome experience once this thing is completed. Like I said, it's a 5.5 mile stretch that runs along the Detroit River in front of Jefferson Avenue. So if you're planning a summer trip or whatnot, spring or summer trip to Detroit, make sure you go out to the Riverwalk and start to see what's taking place out there. All right, number 4 on the list is going to be the Herman Keifer Hospital Complex rehab project. So this project was started by a developer in 2015 when he bought the massive shuttered hospital complex and had grand ideas of developing this crazy property. He struck a deal with the city to buy the complex plus 2 adjacent schools that are nearby, and then a couple years later he bought 100 homes from the Detroit Land Bank to rehab them all around the Virginia Park neighborhood, which surrounds this medical facility. The project is slated to cost about $143 million and is supposed to become the creative commerce campus for Detroit. As mentioned, it's just outside of the Virginia Park neighborhood, right off the John C. Lodge Freeway and just north of downtown. So there's actually a lot of opportunity for investments in the area still, because a lot of the houses have been in disarray for many years. So this makes for a perfect opportunity for you to buy and then rehab and get in on the future appreciation. Now, this project has been slower moving than when anticipated because it started back in 2015. So we're here in 2022, but there's still deadlines being met, still progress being made, but it's still not slated to be complete or near completion until 2027. So just be on the lookout for that one, but it's a huge undertaking by a single developer. So, you know, it's kind of a tough project. And lastly, the granddaddy of them all, it's gonna be Olympia Detroit, District Detroit, spearheaded by Dan Gilbert and all the rocket companies. This one is supposed to be a huge undertaking, but it's slated to spend about $1.5 billion on this project. It's supposed to bring offices, restaurants, housing, and 2 luxury hotels to downtown Detroit. And this is gonna be spread across 10 properties right by Little Caesars Arena. Little Caesars Arena was the arena that the Detroit Red Wings and the Detroit Pistons play at basketball and hockey, which was added in Midtown in 2017. Although things have been moving pretty slowly, they're slated to ramp up. And I mean, I was just down there recently because I'm a season ticket holder for the Pistons. And I mean, it's a beautiful area. It's so much going on. And once they finish putting all these District Detroit things down there, I mean, I can imagine what it's going to do for the city. Also, thinking about it, I mean, you're in walking distance here from all 4 major sports stadiums. So of course the 2 teams play in Little Caesars, then you can walk to Ford Field where the Detroit Lions play, and then also Comerica Park where the Detroit Tigers play. The development is supposed to bring about 6,000 jobs and $500 million in wage revenue per year. So this is an awesome undertaking that's gonna be huge for the city, and there's no completion date quite set, but they're definitely working towards it. And this is the largest developer in Detroit, so there's no lack of faith that it'll be completed. This was just a few of the developments that we have underway. There's a ton more that are left off that I'll be talking about in subsequent videos. So if that's something that you want to see, make sure you go ahead and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button as well if you could, and make sure you check out when I put in new videos. As always, I'm Ed Butler. If you need any help moving to Michigan or moving within the state of Michigan, feel free to reach out. All my information is down below. Love to have your back in your home buying, selling, or investing journey. And I'll catch you on the next one.